Anniversary of the Stalkus of Frierdiker Rebbe, that one has to make a reckoning about what he did in the last 20 years. So it's interesting to note that the following week, Shabbos Parshas Va'ero, Tovshin Lamed, a week later, which was 1 week before Yud Shvat, Tovshin Lamed. So the Rebbe mentioned again, and the Rebbe said that since there are 7 days left till the Yom HaHilula of the Frierdiker Rebbe, of the previous Rebbe, so therefore on Sunday one has to look back and think about all the Sundays of the last 20 years if he did what he was supposed to do, and on Monday he has to think back and look back and see if he did what he had to do in all the previous Mondays, etc., for every day of the week. So we see that the Rebbe wanted that one should reflect upon what he was supposed to do, and obviously if he didn't do it, to start doing it ASAP. So on that note, I would like to call Rabbi Beryl Bell. Is he here? Yeah. Rabbi Bell? Oh, Rabbi Beryl Bell. The Rebbe empowered us that we are the ones that we have to bring Mashiach down to Koil Mamish. We have to bring Mashiach down, the Shekhinah down Lamato here in this world. And by doing this, it's by doing good deeds, by doing mitzvahs. That we should do mitzvahs, and we should encourage other people to do mitzvahs. And so I'll give the mic to Rabbi Bell, who has worked out a little system to help us. We should encourage others to do mitzvahs. Rabbi Bell.
I think I was just given credit for something that I didn't do. But in any case, you'll all see on the, as you came in, they were on all the chairs, a settled about Mivtzoim for Anash. The Rebbe, as we, all those that remember the Fabrengens, the Rebbe would mention all the Mivtzoim individually again and again. The Rebbe explained once why he did, that he had to mention again and again. He was constantly pushing Chassidim to add on in Mivtzoim, and the Rebbe once said that it's not something that you can hide. That everybody should be able to say, these are the people I contacted, this is the number of hours I went, and this is what I did. And they were constantly pushing to add on. The Rebbe said that in these days it's in you from B'koach Nefesh, and they made it very clear that that it adds on the skashrus to reach every single person. The PowerPoint didn't end up working out over here, but remember from Tovshin and Beis Kines HaShluchim, the Rebbe said that in this generation every single Yid is a shliach. But the truth is, the Rebbe said it many times before. The Rebbe said once, one occasion, Zeh tafkidu shlichusa shel kol odem miYisrael. Another time the Rebbe said that it's obvious that anybody that ever went in Tomchet Mimim, that he should be involved in Mivtzoim. But in our generation, it's not only those that went to Tomchet Mimim, it's every single Jew. To both men and women, every single Jew, and there's nobody that can take themselves and exclude themselves from this category. There's a big Esairus now in Eretz Yisrael about Anash, the organization B'ilei Chabad, where Anash are going out of Mivtzoim. The Rebbe said in the Sikha that it speaks. The Gemara says that when a person comes Lamaili after the 120 years, the first question he's asked is did you do business honestly? And the Rebbe said, what does it mean, business? Business is what you had to do with this world. And what is it that we have to do with this world? That's the union of Mivtzoim, the Rebbe said. So you're asked, when you come Lamaila, what was your main business? That every single day I give you back your neshama and I keep it within you. Where are the children? Whether children in age or children in Yedias, that you taught the basics of Yiddishkeit. Where are the Yidden that you brought close to Yiddishkeit? And this is something that we all have to answer ourselves. The Rebbe said by Fabrenga once, he compared to a machine that was built by an engineer, and somebody comes along and they look at this machine and they see there's a screw in the machine and it doesn't seem that it has any particular use. So a person decides, okay, we'll take out this screw. It doesn't seem to be necessary anyway. It's understood that the engineer that put it together and designed it, he knows why it is this particular screw is necessary in order for the machine to function. So too, the Rebbe said, you might wonder that when you move to a city, this city has been around for many years, and it seemed to have been doing whatever it was doing without you. So obviously your participation spreading Yiddishkeit in the city is unnecessary. So now that you're living in the city, so it's also unnecessary. It was going on before you came here, and it's continuing to go on the way it is now. So the Rebbe said that that might have been the case before, but the fact, that you find yourself in this place, that it's obvious. With a kolshkem v'kal v'chemer, the mataf, the engineer, has every single part of the machine that he knows is absolutely crucial that it should be functioning in order for the whole thing to work. So too, the fact that you find yourself in a particular place, it's absolutely necessary for a person to add on in spreading out Yiddishkeit to other people. In any case, there's all different sorts of difficulties. You want to go and do mivtzoyim, so like what exactly you do? You can take your tefillin, but you're going to go someplace and somebody else is going there already, and how to organize it, and where do you get brochures, and therefore there was a plan put together to open up a mivtzoyim center. So Rabbi Yudi Winterfeld is going to be in charge of it, Mirz Hashem, and as you see, we've put together this list over here. It's just an idea of various things that can be done throughout the mivtzoyim. There are of course the 3 mivtzoyim for women also here, and other ideas that everybody is urged and encouraged to fill out something over here that you can be contacted, and the Mirz Hashem, when things get going, that everybody will have the opportunity to add. The Rebbe said once, by every gathering of Yidden, it should always be mentioned what the Rambam says in Hilchos Tshuva, that a person is required to look at the entire world as being an equal balance between the positive and the negative, and therefore, ma'aseh echad, dibur echad, machshava achas, even one thought, or one word, or one action, could be the one to tip the scales and bring the geula b'peil mamish. And therefore, the adding on that everybody certainly does something in this respect, but also all the people you reach should be encouraged to do further in this respect, and so too, each of us can add on in whatever we're doing now. The Rebbe said, when the famous video, when CNN came to ask the Rebbe about his message to the world about Mashiach, and he said that we have to add on in acts of goodness and kindness. And the reporter said, so you should add in acts of goodness and kindness, Mashiach should come, and the Rebbe answered, this part is not always quoted, I don't know why, but l'chur it's the Yikr. The Rebbe said just a little bit more and it'll come immediately. And that's the Nakuda that everybody can add on, so the Kem Pravin Zusammen, Gimel Tammuz, but the Rebbe, Dolamab.
Verbrenger will call upon the Moradaswe, the Stott from Hampstead, and the Moradaswe of the Monntreel Torah Center, Rav Moshe Nu, to say a kapitel Tilden. Everybody knows that there's Tzoras HaKlal and Tzoras HaPrat. There are problems, individual problems, and there are communal problems. And in addition to all that, we have a situation where there are three Torah students that were kidnapped. So the last Rav Moshe Nu, Yaakov Naftali ben Rochel Dvoire, Gilad Michol ben
Basgalim,
Galit, and Ayal ben Irit Shura. So we'll ask Rav Moshe Nu to say, can people kill them, and they should hope that they should be freed, and we should be freed from the goals as well.
Say the Rebbe's Hallelujah, 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 Shem Adonai, Shem Adonai, Beveilo, Ato, Beateilo, Yitzhak Shemesh Adonai, Shem Adonai, Roma Klogoyim Adonai, Elav Shemayim Kveilo, Mik Adonai, Lehin Akvila Shabbos, Spielen Lieder, and Spielen Lieder, Shemayim Levoret. Kimer Yofer, Dome Yashmis, Yom Mevia, Shivim Yedivim Yedivi, Amay Mishiva, Keres Abayis, Im Abodim Smecha, hallelujah. Alle Kapitel. Kufrafalef. Shila Malis Esrein Levahodim Meyayin Yove Ezri. Ezri Miyim Adinoi Oisei Shamayim V'Oretz. Yitin Amit Abdat Raglecha Al Yonum Shemrecha. Hinei LeYonum V'Yishon Shem Yisrael. Nei Shemrecha Tetzilcha Yadji Minecha. Himam Yishemesh Li'Akerka V'Yorech Ba'Loila. Yishmorcha B'Kol Ra Yishmer Es Nafshecha Adonai Yishmer Tzeitzcha V'Yacha Meyata V'Yad Eilam.
On the posters that were distributed, it said that the guest Verbringer is Rabbi Yeshua Gordon, and it just said under it, it said Hetzliach to the Valley. But the truth is that first of all, we were short of space. There's a lot of information on those posters, but it's really much more than that. You have sometimes somebody who's a Rosh Yeshiva, and there's maybe 100 students, 200 students, 1,000 students. But Rabbi Gordon is giving shiurim online, Rambam and Klitas, where I'm not sure if he even knows how many students he has. But I know Rabbi Gordon doesn't want we should speak too much about him, so we won't. And without further ado, I don't want to say my colleague because he's Mishich Meil Mailo. He's a mitzvah shlochi b'fonov. But without further ado, I'd like to call upon Rabbi Gordon should verbring. Now he's going to verbring with us, and then after the verbring we'll sing a niggin, and he's going to verbring weiter. I'm not sure how long, but as long as there's people that are willing to listen to him, he's going to verbring. Rabbi Gordon.
I want to begin by saying L'chaim, L'chaim. First of all, I want to thank all of those that came over and thanked me for learning. Thank you for learning with me. It's a tremendous chus for me that you learn with me. I had an experience about 2 weeks ago which shook me to the core. I received a call from a fellow shliach, a colleague of mine, from different geographical location completely. And he told me that he has a supporter, a balabos, in a shtetl in Michigan. And he's speaking to this balabos, was weit von Yiddishkeit, he's far from Yiddishkeit. And he nudges him once again, he says, you have to learn Torah. You have to study Torah. If you don't study Torah, you're not a fulfilled Jew. We know as Chassidim, Mivtza Torah is one of the Mitzvahim of the Rebbe. I never developed or Chlimud HaTorah. So the guy says, Rabbi, don't worry about it. I don't know if you ever heard about it. There's a class on the internet. It's given by Rabbi Gordon. I study Torah with him every day. So does my wife. He says, wow, that's great. You know, Rabbi Gordon is a friend of mine. So the balabos, the fellow in Michigan, says, I hope I never meet him. So he says, why? Why do you hope you never meet him? I don't understand. He says, because I am so mesmerized, I'm so appreciative of his teachings, I put him on a pedestal. And if I meet him, I'm afraid I'm going to be disappointed. Listen to those words, my friend. Those words apply to every one of us. Because clearly we are on a pedestal. B'nai Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Chassidim of the Rebbe, Talmidim of the Rebbe, representatives of the Rebbe, children of the Rebbe, soldiers of the Rebbe. We are on a pedestal. We have to make sure that we don't disappoint ourselves and the people around us. It's a tremendous responsibility. I want to begin with a very powerful story. The story goes, it's a printed story, that a man came to see the Rebbe Maharash, fourth Chabad Rebbe, and he said to the Rebbe Maharash, I'd like to ask you for your advice. I have this incredible investment opportunity. And I'd like to ask the Rebbe if I should invest. It's a lot of money, my entire life savings. Is it a good thing or not? So the Rebbe Maharash says to him, I do not think you should invest in this investment. He goes back to the fellow who was trying to solicit his investment. He says, I went to my Rebbe, and he said, no. He says, Rebbe, Shmebbe, your Rebbe doesn't understand. Go tell him this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Go tell him if this investment is made and takes off, you'll never have to work again. So this gentleman goes back to the Rebbe Maharash. And he says, Rebbe, you don't understand. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. If I make this investment and it takes off, I'll never have to work again. So the Rebbe Maharash says, I'm telling you, zum zweiten Mal, I do not believe you should make this investment. Anyway, he comes back to the guy. I'm not sure what the guy's name was. The guy wanted his money. Maybe it was Madoff. I'm not sure. By the way, do you know how much money Madoff made off with? So he says, you don't get it. This is once in a lifetime. You're going to have an incredible return. Go tell your Rebbe. He has to say yes. This fellow comes to the Rebbe Maharash zum dritten Mal. And he says, Rebbe, you've got to give me this bracha. I need to do it. This is it. This is the investment I've been waiting for all my life. Maharash said, this is the third time you're asking me, and Babir Kum Tuis, in my humble opinion, you should not make the investment. I guess everybody speaks Yiddish here, right? He couldn't control himself. And he made the investment anyway. And you know the end. It was a Madoff type investment. And he lost everything. And now he was no longer a wealthy man or a moderately wealthy man. Now he's a pauper. So he comes back to the Rebbe Marash. He says, Rebbe, I feel so stupid. I feel so small. I feel so terrible. I don't know what got into me. But can you help me? Can you give me a blessing to come out of it? Can you give me a bracha? So the Rebbe Marash says to this poor soul, he says, when it comes to people who turn to a Rebbe for advice in business, there are three categories of people. One category is somebody figures the Rebbe is on the ground. He's very connected. He sees a lot of people. He interacts with a lot of people. He sees a lot of business plans. He knows. So they come to the Rebbe and they say, no, what do you think? They're looking for his business acumen. He's sharp. And he knows. He's in the know. That's one category. But there's a second category of a person who comes to a Rebbe. He figures the Rebbe, his life is Torah. He's a Torah Jew. He's a Torah scholar. And all of the wisdom is in Torah. Where there's Torah, there's wisdom. The Torah will surely give the Rebbe wisdom to know what's a good investment and what's not a good investment. That's the second category. The first category is he is involved, he knows a lot of people in business. The second category is he's a Torah Jew. Then there's a third category. A real chassid. A chassid knows that a Rebbe is a Rebbe. A Rebbe. Shchina medaberes mitoch greine. A Rebbe is the Eibishter allein, was redt durch Havos Avadam. Moshe Rabbeinu shebedereinu. How does a Rebbe know? He knows. Now, I'm not sure which category you fit into, said the Rebbe Marash to this gentleman. But regardless of whether you are category 1, category 2, or category 3, you should have listened. Why didn't you listen? That's the story. We're sitting here in this wonderful, wonderful, I guess we call it Beis Chabad, MTC. I have my friend and colleague, Rabbi Nu and Rabbi Treitel, and all of the other Rabbonim. Rabbi Beryl Mochkin, who gets younger every time I see him, is 120 years. It's important to say we need to know what a Rebbe is. Because if we can internalize that the Rebbe is a Rebbe, and the Rebbe has expectations of us, not only 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years ago, but today, then we will be different, our lives will be different, our effect on others will be different. And I want to begin by saying, I find myself once again in Montreal. I grew up in Montreal. I was educated in the yeshiva in Montreal. I came to Montreal as a teenager, a little over 50 years ago. 50 years ago. You know, even though this is Canada, I'm sure you've heard of JFK, right? I don't mean the airport. I also don't mean the guy who comes late to shul just for Kiddush. That's another form of JFK. I mean the president. People my age, you ask them where they were when they found out JFK was assassinated. I was on Victoria and Carlton in front of the 1-hour Martinizing. November 22nd, 1963. Do we still have a 1-hour Martinizing there? Yes. Okay, Baruch Hashem. But I'm looking at my colleague, Rabbi New, and I'm getting very nervous because Rabbi New called me up a few weeks ago. He says, Rabbi Gordon, I heard you're coming to Montreal. We don't need any entertainment. We don't need any jokes. Be serious. So there's going to be no entertainment tonight and no jokes tonight. And I'm going to be very, very serious because Nachal HaMaises, this is very serious. So I want to begin with a story. I was just having a conversation with my colleague, Rabbi Kaplan, Rosh Yeshiva, and I was talking about the yeshiva, and is there a summer session in the yeshiva? So I want to tell you a story. I believe the year was Tavshin Chav Hei. If not Chav Hei, it was Chavod. Probably Chav Hei. And the people in the yeshiva who were my mashpiyim, mashgichim, those who guided me, yeshiva here, Westbury corner, Plamondon. Are we? They encouraged me, it was this time of the year, they encouraged me to remain in the yeshiva for summer. And by the way, I see a lot of people in whose houses I ate. I want to thank you for your hospitality. It was a long time ago. But I still remember. Thank you. Montreal is an incredible community. It's unbelievable. And I'm talking 43 years ago. So they wanted me to stay in the yeshiva in the summer. I also had an opportunity, we have Rabbi Beryl Mochkin here, to go to camp. In the Laurentians, right? Near La Belle, on the mountain high. The flag of Gan Yisrael does fly. It's memory to pick, never mind. Now, I, like every other yeshiva bacher, had the opportunity, I take it for granted back then, to go to Yechidus, to see the Rebbe. Every year just before my Yom Haledes. And this is just before my Yom Haledes. Thank you for making this birthday party. We just need a cake. So I went into Yechidus. I was like 16. And I asked for a bracha, and I did my hachonas, and I did everything I hoped that a 16-year-old bacher did before Yechidus. It was an awesome experience. And this happened every year. But then, in addition to asking the Rebbe for a bracha, shnas hatzlacha bracha, and the Rebbe took the success of Yeshiva Bacham very seriously, and the growth of Yeshiva Bacham very seriously, I presented my big question to the Rebbe. I have a dilemma, or as they say in Australia, a dilemma. Should I go to yeshiva in the summertime, or should I go to camp? This was my big issue. Now you're thinking, to me this was important. To the Rebbe it was certainly important. Because to the Rebbe everything was and is important. So the Rebbe looked at me, and the Rebbe indicated, can't guess, huh? The Rebbe indicated that I should go to camp. And the Rebbe gave an explanation. And the Rebbe said that because I will go to camp and do for others, to translate, there's a posuk, there's an expression that says that when a person does so-and-so, his heart and his mind becomes refined 1,000 times as much. A few weeks later at a Fabrengen, the Rebbe explained, as he did many times since then, that literally what this means, this expression, is that ordinarily what it takes somebody 1 hour to accomplish, ordinarily when it takes somebody 1,000 hours to accomplish, if we do for others, we can accomplish that in 1 hour. This is what the Rebbe told me at 16. The Rebbe's view and the Rebbe's emphasis on doing for others. There was an announcement earlier about Mitzvayim. In most chugim, in most groups in the world, people think about themselves. They think about their children as they should. They think about their grandchildren as they should. They're not very concerned with other people. Certainly those people. The Rebbe was concerned with all people and continues to be concerned. Let me tell you a story. My wife and I went out on shlichus in 1972 and to California, to the Valley in 1973. When we got to Encino, California, we were very young, very inexperienced, but very excited. The passion of shlichus was there for both of us all of our lives. This was what we wanted to do. In fact, I'll tell you a secret. We're all amongst friends. Please don't tell anybody. The first time I met my wife, I guess you would call it a date, we had some very basic elementary conversation, and then I told her, listen, I'm going on shlichus. How about you? And she says, me too. That was the first date. And 6 days later, we were engaged. We got the bracha from the Rebbe. 6 days later. It was a non-issue. Shlichus was, well, I'm from the 60s, you see. We're strange people. I only smoked whitefish, by the way. There's no entertaining to it. So, there was this family we met in Encino, a young 14-year-old boy. Got to know him, got involved with him, and there's something very interesting about life. People grow up. People you meet as kids, before you know it, they're all grown up. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're Indian chiefs, they're successful businessmen, they're donors, they're partners. How did the world change? I was teaching you bar mitzvah. I don't know. I haven't figured out how this works. But this 14-year-old kid grew up. We maintained this close relationship. And he went to law school and became a lawyer. And he got a job working for another fellow in our community in a small law office. His Hebrew name was Yosef. His secular name, Zangoyish Numen, is Jeff. So he comes to me and he says, Rabbi Gordon, you know, I have this big case coming up. And I really, really need a lot of help. Because this is the case that will propel me into a real law career. Is it appropriate, I'm here to rabbi, is it appropriate for me to write the letter to the Rebbe, ask him for a blessing, for a bracha, that I succeed, tell him what's going on? I said, not only is it appropriate, it's wonderful. So we sat down together, wrote a letter, told the Rebbe the importance of this case, sent the letter off. A few weeks later, a letter comes from the Rebbe stationer. It's addressed to Mr. Yosef, so on and so forth. And the letter says, and I have the letter in my files, I received your request, and the Rebbe gave him tremendous bracha for hatzlacha, for success. Unbelievable. Now, you know, he's a lawyer. We don't have too many lawyers here, huh? Okay, good. So he says to me, you know, he's a little cynical. He says to me, so, Rabbi, this is a good thing, right? This letter is, I mean, I don't know letters from the Rebbe, but this is a good thing, right? I said, it's wonderful. He says, so we're going to do okay, huh? I said, you're going to do terrific. Fast forward. This is his case. This is the make it or break it case. And then the big day comes. He's the lawyer. He loses the case. But it was a massacre. It was a devastation. Not only does he lose the case, he loses his job. He comes to me, he says, no, what do you say now? I said, it's going to be even better. He says, I knew you would say that. You guys are all the same. I said, I'm telling you, your letter from the Rebbe was a powerful letter. It's going to be even better. He says, we'll see. He gets so frustrated and so devastated. He quits law. That's it. Voice lawyer. He goes into business. And everything he touches turns to gold. And this guy starts making money like I never saw anybody make money. He says to me, Rabbi Gordon, don't you think it's time that we go see the Rebbe? I hear he gives out dollars and blessings on Sundays. I say, it's high time. I've been bugging you. Yeah, but I'm ready now. So he gets a first-class ticket for both of us. And he sits down, he says, I just want to thank you for going with me. He writes me a nice check. This is just for the trip. By that time, he was one of my biggest supporters. So we come to 770, and we're standing in front of the Rebbe. Now, in case you think I'm making this up,